schedule with the coordination to get them into the show. So if you're in the business and if you have a property that you think you want to wholesale and you're not sure how to structure it, give us a call. That's what we're here for. We're very transparent. Okay, excellent. So let's just go into your story, JP.
Right.
Tell us, where you're from, family, and what did you do before wholesaling?
I'm originally from here, from San Antonio. I was born here in San Antonio.
Okay. Really, not too many of you guys.
Yeah. So I actually moved up to Minnesota at about 7 years of age, and I went to school. All my major schooling was over there. All my elementary, high school.
Nice.
Came back at 16. And I've been back in San Antonio ever since.
Really?
Yep.
16 years old, you came from Minnesota, which is too cold up there.
Yep.
And so you've been here for quite a while.
Yep.
And so you have family here? Are you married? Or?
Yes, I am married now. About to be 10 years married here in November with my wife, me and my wife, and we have 5 babies.
5 kids.
5 kids.
Nice. Okay.
4 of them are girls. So
really?
Yep.
So you got some responsibilities.
I got some big responsibilities, man. I've got to have at least $5 million in the bank for each one by the time I retire from anything.
God willing, yes, why not, man? You can do it in this business.
Yep. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so, kind of curious, what would you do? What were you doing before you got into real estate?
So right before I jumped into real estate, I've always been in the construction business.
Okay.
I've never been like a supervisor or owner of a construction like that. Just a laborer, operator. I've got a CDL, so I'm also a commercial professional driver.
Really? Okay. That's
and
important.
So I spent 4 years with a contractor here in San Antonio, and we were doing a lot of underground drilling, which is the HDD drilling.
Underground drilling, right?
Yeah, for 4 years we're burying pipe for telecommunications companies in and around San Antonio. My most recent stint was actually out in West Texas in the oil field, and we're building power lines for all the new rigs that are being built out there. So
power lines.
Power lines.
Like for electricity power.
For electricity. For electricity.
To drill energy.
To provide the energy for the new pads.
For the new pads.
For the new pads. That way they can start drilling. Right.
I guess they do. They need a lot of energy for that.
Oh yeah.
Electricity.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's all electrical wiring kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Plenty of work.
Well, the energy business is a huge sector here in Texas, as I've noticed.
Yep.
I'm not originally from Texas, but it's a huge industry, and we see a lot of guys that were in that field that jumped into real estate. So, what gave you the bug to get into real estate wholesaling? How did that happen?
It's been something that's been in the works for several years now. Financial freedom is what I've been looking for.
Right.
And so I started studying some things a few years back. And
where did you study those things?
Online.
Online. Google and YouTube.
Google, YouTube, and actually the majority of it I've been learning over the past year or two. I've met some great people on Facebook, social media, and I've learned quite a bit from a lot of people online.
And if I could just interact a little bit, as I always tell everybody who's watching, who's new in the business, or even you veterans that are out there. I speak to a lot of guys that done this business for a while, and they may not know some things. I say, well, just YouTube it, just Google it, and you'd be surprised. Like for instance, if you don't know what affidavit of heirship is, okay, Google it. It'll tell you, explain to you what it means,
right.
What kind of legal document it is, and it's a great source. So you don't have to spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars on a national traveling guru with a gold Rolex in his wrist, and you know who you are, and where you can just reach out to local mentorship companies like Hilco Homes or any other company out there that's is very transparent and offer free advice online. And of course, Mr. YouTube and Mr. Google. Those are your 3 mentors today. So continue with the show.
YouTube University, man. I got a PhD at YouTube University.
That's it.
For everything.
It's free. Just got to deal with those stupid commercials, right?
Right. Yeah, so I think what really catapulted me into this, over the last year, I actually started reading books that I've said that I wanted to read, such as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is one that I hear everybody talk about.
Right. Those are big. That's huge. That's a big
Yep.
book.
So I actually started first with trying to change my mindset. Yeah, you know, everybody's got those self-limiting beliefs, and
Right.
I really needed to change my mindset.
Okay.
And
Okay.
one book that really helped me with that was The Path of Prosperity.
The Path of Prosperity.
Yep. And
Okay.
I read that one, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I actually switched crews with the last company that I was with, you know, up in West Texas doing the power lines.
Right.
I switched from one crew to the other because one of the other guys had the same mentality as me, you know. We're working, but we don't want to be working. We're looking for financial freedom. You know, he was listening to Dave Ramsey and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so, you know, we hit it off, conversating and stuff, and then we started trading books. And so
that's something.
Yep. So he traded a book. He read something about tax liens and tax deeds, and so he started talking about that. And I actually signed up to go to a seminar by Rich Dad Education out in Midland, Texas, so we could learn a little bit more about investing.
Okay. In Midland.
Yep. So we showed up, and it was just me, him, and one other guy from El Paso. And
just a three-piece.
Just us three. Not even the
it's a small class.
organizer. Not even the organizer showed up.
Oh, not even
so
the
we didn't even have a seminar.
Holy shit.
So we just kind of networked between, you know, the guy from El Paso and he asked us what we were there for, and he asked if we knew what wholesaling was, and I was like, no, and I was like, can you elaborate on that? And so he explained a little bit to me what it was, and then he said, go ahead and watch Max Maxwell on YouTube. And
shout out to Max Maxwell.
Shout out to Max Maxwell. And so I went home and I watched a bunch of Max Maxwell, and you know, it just tripped me out at how much money wholesaling can make a person per transaction.
Yeah, that's true.
He actually had his mentor reach out to me as well. He asked me if I was interested in maybe getting mentorship through him.
Okay.
And so I spoke to that man, and the price was just too high for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, like $5,000.
No, he wanted $12,000.
$12,000.
$12,000 to mentor me.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, man.
I did my research. You know, I went on that man's Facebook page, and I could not see anything that would justify me spending $12,000 because he didn't have much action on his Facebook page. And I was like, I even wrote a long one-page, you know, paper to him.
Really?
You know, and he just never replied to me.
Really?
Right.
You wrote a one-page, like an email to him? Email.
Yep. Yeah, because he had a bunch of questions he wanted me to answer, and so I answered all these questions, and you know, it was a pretty long page.
So he was vetting you.
He was vetting me,
and you're vetting him.
And yeah, exactly. And at the end, I just told him, you know, thanks for the offer, but I'm gonna have to pass on this.
I think that was pretty wise of you, JP. You saved yourself, I think, $12,000.
I think I did.
Which you could use towards your next project if you ever want to start taking down these wholesale deals, right? I mean, that's the whole idea, right? You start off as a wholesale, but you don't want to wholesale your entire life, right?
That's right.
All right, so continue from there. So you had that little meeting, and then you're back in San Antonio.
Well, I had to take it's a 5-hour drive from West Texas to back home.
Right.
And so I was only seeing my family maybe once or twice a month. And while I was up there, staying with some relatives, you know, I'm reading my books in my spare time, watching a bunch of videos on wholesaling. I even spent probably about 5 or 6 hours one night just watching a 2-hour video by Dominique. I can't remember his last name, but Dominique on YouTube. Right. He has a 2-hour tutorial on everything about wholesaling.
No kidding.
Pretty boring. But I mean, if you're willing to learn, you know, it's there. And so I sat down and I took notes for the longest time. And, you know, I got really pumped about it.
Good.
And
that was it.
That was it. You know, I made up my mind. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to jump into this business. And
she thought you were crazy.
She thought I was crazy. I think a lot of people think I'm crazy.
Still crazy.
I jump at opportunities, you know, without looking back. So
well, let's see who else is crazy just besides you and me. We got Michael on the line. We have Jose Galindo, Dennis Cole.
Shout out to Jose Galindo, that's my buddy right there.
Oh, really? All right. Shout out to my boy Galindo. David Franco. David was on the show last week.
Right.
Alan Grimsley and Kyle Lernoff. Kyle, I think you're a veteran wholesaler out there, right? We've transacted on Facebook of several times. We got Richard just joined us. So welcome everyone to the show of Ask Wholesaler. If you have any questions in this business of wholesale, feel free to put them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. But for the meantime, we have a real special guest with us. Make sure I'll tag him on the subject heading on this here video. His name is Jose JP Hernandez, and he was in the middle of his personal story of how he got into this business. And so you watched that Dominic video 2 hours straight, and then boom, you told your wife to get into the business, and then take it from there.
Yep. So I come home for Father's Day weekend, and I had ordered 2 books. You know, if you can't wholesale after this, I got nothing for you.
A great book.
I read that book.
Good.
And I also ordered Nicole Esparza's the short sale queen.
Okay.
I ordered her book because I just wanted to get a little bit of understanding.
Here.
Yeah, so shout out to Nicole Esparza.
I think
she's a beast when it comes to short sales.
Yes, two totally different.
Two totally different things. I thought it was going to be something that had to do a little bit more with wholesaling, but
yeah.
I realized it's a little bit different.
You may see short sales come back after the recession.
Right.
You know, that's because that's what it was big the last time. So it's good that you read it, because then you'll be prepared.
Exactly.
If we ever get it, well, we're going to get into a recession because recessions are normal. It's a normal cycle. It's secular.
Yep.
But that's good. So you read those 2 books.
I read
Sorry
those
to
2
interrupt
books.
you.
And I had a really tough time. I remember the night before I had to head back to West Texas, and I always drove at night. I'd always take off about 10 p.m.
Avoid traffic.
Get there right in the morning. Right. Yeah, way less traffic and way cooler weather. So,
Cool.
I was dressed and ready for work.
Okay.
I woke up and I grabbed my keys and I had my stuff in my vehicle, and I walked back. I walked to the door and I walked back inside, and I said, you know what? I'm not going back to work.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Just like that.
Oh.
I said, I'm not going back to work. And so I dove in full time.
Yeah.
I dove in full time.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a little bit of money saved up to pull me through and get me some of the stuff that I needed. So.
And did you call your job and tell them
I called.
coming?
I called.
Okay.
I called, and
they're like, well, what's wrong?
Yep.
You're sick?
So, yep.
I'm sick of this job. This dead-end job.
That's right.
Right?
So.
Okay. And then from there...
It took me about 2 days to call them, though.
Okay. Right. two days. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so you started your business. And I see you got branding already on your shirt and your hat. I think you have some things. You got the crypto thing going on.
That's another club that I belong to. It's also has to do with investing. So I'm a member of that private club right there. It's got a little bit of cryptocurrency, mainly just Bitcoin. And stocks.
That's interesting. Yep. So you're a diversified kind of wholesaler.
Right.
That's smart.
Like I said, I want financial freedom, and the way to do it is going to be investing, real estate, and just understanding markets in general. So, you know, I'm educating myself.
Okay.
With it. So.
Okay. So so now, how long have you been doing this full time now with wholesaling?
2 months.
2 months. So he's really new.
2 months.
60 days.
Very new.
Very new. And what is your strategy? What is your goal? You know, what are you seeing that works or doesn't work? You know, where are you finding leads?
My favorite thing to do right now, and it's probably because it's also the cheapest, is driving for dollars.
Okay.
Driving for dollars, I prefer for 2 reasons. I can see the condition of the home already, you know, because I'm there.
Right.
And I like to knock on doors. So I do door knocking as well.
Okay.
If I see the home and I want to speak to the owner, I can just simply knock.
Right.
And you know, I chit chat with them for a little bit if they're there. If not, I leave a letter, a flyer.
Right. A flyer.
So
you already have a flyer printed out already?
Yeah. Okay. You know, I've got my letter printed out. You know, I got them in those party envelopes. Okay. So I'm saving. It's kind of like doing the mailing, but without actually paying for postage. Right. You know, so I'm there. I knock. If they answer, great. I leave them a business card. If they don't answer, well, I leave them a letter.
And how many are you doing that per day or per week? Or what's been the average?
It took me a little while to set up an actual schedule for myself. I actually just tweaked my schedule again last week. You know, Sunday through Tuesday, I'm not going to do anything with wholesaling. I'm just gonna do my dad and husband duties.
Right.
And then Wednesday through Saturday, I'll go ahead and hit the wholesaling, and that's when I'll go driving for dollars again.
So today.
Today, right. So driving for dollars, skip tracing my previous leads.
Right.
So right now I've got a pretty big list that I accumulated from driving for dollars.
They accumulate really quickly because, San Antonio is interesting. I mean, if you go downtown on the west side, south side, every other house looks like it needs to be totally rehabbed.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing when when I do driving for dollars with my posse, my squad. It's like I always tell myself, this is like there's so much money to be made out here, because there's so many homes that are just dilapidated and deferred maintenance. But so that's smart because you're dealing directly with the seller. You're not dealing with another wholesaler and his fee and his ego, because you guys, some wholesalers do have egos out there. You know who you are, and then you're not dealing with a bank foreclosure. You're not dealing with an attorney. You're dealing strictly with the seller and their motivation, and it's just you and them, and that's where you make your money. That's where you can really maximize your fee. Okay, so that's great. So that's working for you so far, right? What else? You mentioned skip tracing. What website do you use for skip tracing?
True People Search, and I actually had a a background service that I was paying for a little while.
All right.
Subscription.
Okay.
And I was using that for a little while.
All right. All right, cool.
But I mean, a lot of the numbers were disconnected. The majority of the numbers are disconnected.
Right.
So.
Hey, but speaking about driving for dollars, I was watching Maxwell's show the other day on YouTube at like midnight before I go to sleep watching YouTube. That puts me to bed, and I usually watch some motivational shows on YouTube. And so I listened to some guy, and he was on the show who was telling me that he uses an app for driving for dollars.
Right.
I forgot the name of it, but
the Deal Machine.
Deal Machine.
Deal
Yes.
Machine.
You heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Share with the public what it is.
Deal Machine is a great app.
Deal Machine.
I actually tried the free trial of that.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, if you have a great phone, my phone's pretty old, so it would lag a lot. But if you have a great phone, and you're driving by a property and you see a property that you're interested in, you tap the screen,
right,
and the address pops up, and you hit add to your list. And once you hit add to your list, it actually pulls up the property owner's name,
right,
and it lets you know whether it's an absentee owner or not.
Badass.
That's as far as I got with the free trial. I actually did watch. I watched Quentin Flores. Shout out to Quentin Flores. I watched his YouTube video that he just dropped last week, where he did the Deal Machine with the founder of Deal Machine.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and
I didn't know that.
I guess when you actually have the paid subscription, it'll pull up the phone number as well.
Right.
And so.
But what I like about Deal Machine is that you're out there driving for dollars. You're in front of the home. You take a photograph.
Right.
You take a picture of the house with the weeds, 2 feet tall weeds, and you could probably get a picture of the summons with the red sticker on the door with the big summons, right?
Right.
And then you can send that to the app, and it prepares a postcard,
right,
where you can mail it,
mail it
to
out
the homeowner by mail,
right?
And there's different formats.
Yeah,
for that
so it's a great app. I hope to use it more in the future.
Exactly.
But it's a pretty awesome app.
Yeah, I think if I did more driving for dollars, that's called D for D for all you guys. We like to use a lot of acronyms here. I would be definitely on that app all day long, man. So shout out your boy. We got Richard. We got Jose. Said, hell yeah, thanks for the shout out. Power sign.
Cool.
He said you burned the boat when you didn't go to work.
That's right.
You burnt that freaking boat.
I burned the boat quite a bit, man.
I heard boats are probably the worst investments you can make in your life. By
blind leap of faith, man. I do it quite often, and I've done it several times over the past 4 years since I started changing my mindset and chasing the financial freedom, and it's always worked out for me.
There you go.
You always have the faith in it. Have faith in God, in the universe, in yourself, and
that's right.
You can't go wrong.
Faith is a gift from God, by the way. Not everyone has faith.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna start preaching now, but I'm a God-fearing Christian too.
Right.
And and that's a big jump. I mean, you got 5 little girls, 5 children, 4 of them girls. You said
4 of them are
4 girls, and your wifey. And listen, I don't know how you guys do it. I'm a bachelor. I've never been married. I don't have children, but I could just imagine. if I had a family, I'd be more responsible, I think, too, because it gives you structure in a way. It does give you structure, which is important, structure. But he also, boats, I was saying boats are like the worst investment you can make. But David Calloway's there, Jorge Bermudez, Sammy.
Shout out to Jorge. It's another one of my buddies.
All right, so you got your posse watching.
Yep.
You got a lot of support out there.
Yep.
We got Michael, Michael the broker there from HBHS is in the house. Thank you for watching. Also watch, I'm going to plug a little bit. Everyone who's watching, please make sure you have HBHS, Home Buyer, Home Seller on Facebook, because they have great shows as well. And tonight, Marco Romero and Hillary Romero will be the guests at the HBHS podcast show tonight. I believe it's at 6 or 7 p.m. live on Facebook. So, you know, we support each other in this business.
I can't wait to listen to that one. And shout out to Home Buy and Home Center Solutions. They also have some amazing guys. I've met up with Miguel. And his So you know, you guys, and that's what I love about you guys here in San Antonio. You know, being a newbie.
Yeah, tell us about that.
If I've heard I've seen a lot of people complain, you know, on YouTube. You know, how do you they don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that, and they want to ask questions, and they can't build up a network.
Really? You see that, right? In other cities.
In other cities.
Right.
And I'm like, why is it that they can't build up a network? And I just think it's fear, nervousness, you know, shyness. I'm a real timid, real shy guy. As a matter of fact, I'm not. I think I am. And I forced myself out of the comfort zone. You know, once I said I'm going to do this full time, I started looking for all the wholesaling groups on Facebook that I could find. Adding members were adding me, you know, people that I didn't even know, and you know, adding them, and I started seeing the pop-ups for RIA meetings and meetups and mixers and stuff like that, and that's where I met you, Hernando, one of the mixers.
HBHS mixer.
Yeah, Wildcat Lending.
So
HBHS.
we see how we all commingle with each other. Right. We don't try to like keep everything for ourselves.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, that's human nature. Unfortunately, greed is a human nature attribute. But you know, once you realize that there's enough money for everyone to make in this business, we encourage people to come into the business. Right? Not only do we encourage you to come into the business, we want you to be successful, and we're willing to give you information. I'm willing to give you my time and give you my documents. I share everything. We share everything at Hilton Homes. Yep. So if you don't know how to write up a contract, if you don't know what a disclosure is, if you don't know what an affidavit of heirship is, if you don't know the structure of wholesaling a transaction, there are companies out there that will be happy to help you for free. Now, if they have a buyer, like
but they had a medical emergency.
Okay.
And they've been dealing with that for the past couple of weeks, and it kind of stalled the situation a little bit. So. Okay. But you know,
that does happen.
It happens.
But they're motivated to sell.
They're motivated to sell.
Right.
They're motivated to sell.
It's distress. What kind of distress is it?
They're behind on their mortgage.
They're behind on their mortgage loan.
They're behind on their mortgage.
Pre-foreclosure.
Pre-foreclosure.
Is that how he got it, from a pre-foreclosure list?
No. I don't recall how he found the property. Reached out or something like that.
And that's where a lot of deals come into your sphere of influence, which is your family and your friends. Sphere of influence. All right, so you got a good lead. It's just a matter of time before they call you back.
Right.
You're following up with them, right? Because it's all about the follow-up call, right?
Yep.
And that you have to have a system. You have to have some type of system in place, software,
right?
CRMs, so that you don't forget to call.
Let me just go back a little bit and.
He said he got it off of Craigslist.
And let you guys know Craigslist. Okay, there you go.
Craigslist.
So what really got me going was the first day that I decided to go driving for dollars.
Oh yeah,
we compiled it. My wife and my daughter were with me. My oldest daughter, she's 13.
All right.
And you know, we came back with a huge list of homes, and I said, okay, I don't have postage stamps.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and knock on doors and leave these on their door if they don't answer. 8:30 at night, after the first day of leaving letters, I got a call.
Really?
From one of those doors, you know, and so I actually had missed a call, and I called them right back about 30 minutes later, 9 p.m., and the guy's asking me, if I was the investor and he's wants me to go take a look at his house, you know, he might be willing to sell, or he is willing to sell, or so he said. And so I spent about a week with him, but just the fact that within 2 days of actually hitting the streets, I got a call back.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I actually had 2 calls back. One of them was an owner who rented